Hey everybody, Model Man here, and this is going to be a quick 24 to 48 hour build of the glow-in-the-dark classic Darth Vader kit from MPC all those years ago. I've done some preliminary work here. I glued the cape halves together and I've got it taped off now for putty. Over here I've glued one arm and two of the upper legs together. None of the other parts are really gluable yet, except I did glue the boxes onto the belt here. While we're looking at this piece, I've also carved out those three holes which do light up, and yes, I did slice myself pretty good on this. I got them kind of squarish by drilling a hole at each end and then wiggling the drill bit in between, and then taking the X-Acto blade and just slicing away until I got what are roughly squares. I did that down here and over here. The single little circle on each side is going to be a red fiber optic. The two squares are going to be green. And basically I'm just going to stick an LED back here and light block the fiber optic so it doesn't get contaminated. The fiber optic may lead up to the red LED for these three guys here, or it may be its own. And I was thinking I'd have to build a light box around here, but I just happen to have this U-beam sitting around, so I just carved off a chunk, and what I'm thinking is I'll glue this down and stick an LED at one or both ends, and essentially done. So this piece is all ready to go. The thing I really have to do now is prime everything and get a few more pieces together. I specifically want to get these boots together, and what I've done here on each of them is bury a pair of magnets in the bottom. That was super glued into place, and then I built it up with a little CA and baking soda to create a good rim around it, and then I took the blob of Ava's epoxy, stuck it in there, basically pressed the boot halves to shape, and now it's coming up on probably about 20 hours later, and this ensures that these magnets are not going to fly around at all. You'll also see that I've drilled two holes in the bottom. I don't know if I'm going to put the electrical contact at the midfoot here or back at the heel. And I've done that in both cases as well. Over here on the cape, this is taped off for some putty I was about to put down, but I'm realizing that I should probably simply prime this first. So I'm gonna do that. Oh, one other thing is that over here on the head, notice I've got this little mirror here, and what I was thinking was that I'd probably just paint the inside of this silver to get as much light bouncing around as possible. And then I figured, what's better than a mirror finish than an actual mirror? This does fit in here with his head sides fully closed. I will be able to angle it forward. It'll be some tweaking. I may still abandon the idea. I don't know yet quite fully, but we'll get there as we get there. Right now I'm going to glue these boots together and get some primer going. And what I'm doing now is picking out the LEDs to put inside Vader's chest unit, and of course the glow-in-the-dark head. The three buttons up on the top left there are flashing red. It's a slow flash. They're going to be steady in this case. The fiber optic looped through his belt there is going to be red, and then those two little squares, the white squares, are also going to be not red. They will be green instead. I've used micro scales, micro crystal clear right there to fill this in, and I'm going to probably do another pass once it cures fully. It's already been 48 hours and it's still got a ways to go. But I'm going to blob it into the front spaces as well, because it kind of dried in a recessed manner. Anyhow, like I said, what I'm doing here is picking out the LEDs for this, and I've got the two UV LEDs inside. Ooh, crap. Now, here's a good reason to clean your floor, because you instantly lose whatever you just dropped. Amazing. Oh, here we are. So over here on the so-called light sword, I was hoping to get a really good glow out of it using a single LED in the hilt, but that's not going to happen. The glow only goes so far before the plastic just absorbs all the light. So, with that in mind, I next thought perhaps I could drill into this a little bit and maybe put some side glow fiber optics in there. However, the little bit I did do for drilling doesn't really show any great promise, though I did get kind of far, right up to about there. That will help the light transmission get a little further though. So what it's going to be is a single 3mm LED right butted up against it there, and over in the head it's going to be a single 10mm mounted in the chest and pointing up at the mirror to reflect into his eyes. So I need 2 greens and 2 reds essentially. What I was just doing was looking at the resistor values that I want to use. For the UV, I want those at full power for 12 volt power supply, which means those are going to be 470 ohms. I had 510s, so it's a dash dimmer than it should be, but it's really, really negligible. By comparison, the reference that I'm using for Vader here is that anytime you see these buttons in the film in full light, you can barely tell that they're lit. And that's the level I'm going for. If I put a 500 ohm resistor on the green, it's going to be shining like an airport landing light or something. Going through my own personal stash of resistors, I tried a 1000, that wasn't quite strong enough. I went up to a 5000, still not strong enough, so I tried 2 of those together for 10,000, still didn't like it. So what I did was turn to a Modeler's brand resistor baggie, which has 25 470 ohm, 25 330 ohm, which are good for 9 volt power supplies. What I really wanted here was the 20 values at 10 pieces each. So flipping through all the values here, I found 30K, which I think I like. So let me do a 30K next to a 500, just so you can see how much of a difference it is. So the lighting level that I'm aiming to achieve is something that's visible during bright light but not overpowering. So you can see that side, that's pretty well overpowering. It's not even in a best position. And this one I tried to get into best possible position, just leaving it here on this board. They're each plugged into the negative rail, and then these resistors lead off to a positive line. This one is standard 470 ohm, which is good for 12 volts, full power, green light. Over here, this is 30,000. So I like to look at 30K, and 470 is going to be the UV brightness. So I want that maxed out and these other ones dim. Otherwise, another trick you could do is if you wanted this kind of brightness out of a 470 ohm resistor, is rather than using 12 volts, go down to 9 or 7 or even 5 until you get what you want. Probably 9 or 8 would probably do something about that, I think. So anyhow, I'm going to wire these up. I'll wire up the red ones with a 30K as well. The UV are all set, they just need to be soldered, and then I can glue those into place, assemble some pieces, and start working on all these seams. Alright, so I got negative coming in the left leg, positive in the right. I'm going to have to glue those into place before I get any real wiring done here apparently. So I just got all the LEDs laid out basically where they're going to go. The 10mm cannot fit in the head. I was going to baseline it at the neck right there, but that just won't work. I will probably be shaving off most of that to make it more diffuse. This top LED right there is going to be the red for the fiber optics. I decided to go with a different resistor on the red for the chest light because being at the top of this area here, the light's going to project all the way down and illuminate. So I wanted that to be a lot brighter because it is much further away from the exterior. The greens are kind of just shoved into place at the moment. I need to basically wire everything up to get their best positions, and then I'll fix all those into place. And this is coming along fast. The mirror idea has its downsides, which I'll get to in a little bit. It turns out that this will be in the way of the helmet, so I either have to carve some of the helmet away or carve some of this. So I'm probably going to get the Dremel grinder out and flatten that down. Fully masked, fully protected in plastic, because that is a sheet of glass right there, right proper. So, what else? I'm going to be sanding down the shoulders here because the leather look on that just doesn't work. I'm going to leave the bear fur underwear that he's got wearing, and yeah, basically it's just those shoulders that got to be patched up. So yeah, so I'm going to pull all these LEDs out. I'm going to tape the upper half of the body together, glue the legs on. I may as well not glue the right arm on yet. Well, there's still work to do there, so obviously I can't. The head will not be glued on, but yeah, I think just the legs should do it. And then I'll get the interior all wired up and I can glue the whole body together and worry about the rest of it. No, because I got to do the arm here as well. Over on that front. And that is basically how that is going to go right there. So, yeah, let's see how this goes.